Such legislation. We have too much legislation that's being passed in this country that is unconstitutional. One great example is the recently passed health care bill. That bill needs to be overturned. It needs to be, well, I don't think we're going to be able to overturn it until we get a new president, which I think will happen in 2012. But that bill needs to be overturned. It is an unconstitutional bill. There are numerous other bills that are passed daily that do not comply with the Constitution. Not only would I support legislation of that sort, I would also support legislation that would detail that no bill can be passed without a method of paying for it. I do not support earmarks. I will not support earmarks. And I will not support legislation that does not have some method to pay for it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Jeffries, your response, please.
Again, I'm not familiar with the bill enough to be able to specifically say I would co-sponsor it or support it. But I think a couple things that come to mind right now in terms of your question. Number one is any and all legislation that is passed in Congress or in the Senate or the White House or wherever it starts and stops and gets signed off on absolutely must apply equally to the people that created the law and made the law, as well as the people that are affected by it. So whatever happens in Washington, whether it be health care or you name it, it's got to apply equally to our elected representatives as well as the people that it's intended to apply to. One of the things that concerns me is that as a small businessman, I continually am seeing things coming out of Washington that are really just essentially coming out of fear of thin air. There's a tendency in Washington to create legislation or law that facilitates whatever Congress or whatever some particular legislator wants to get done. And what happens is they don't really have any basis for that occurring. They simply say, well, let's look at what we've got going on here. Let's find a way to either stick it to a small business person or a small business to let them fund it or get it done, or let's find some way to slip it under the radar screen with the citizens of this country. Our government needs to be more transparent. Our lawmakers need to be more transparent. Our processes need to be out there. And quite frankly, small business and taxing small business, putting onerous rules and regulations on small businessmen is not the answer to moving our country forward. We need to find ways to facilitate small business, get them growing, get them hiring people again.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Larry Hausman, your response, please.
I am familiar with the bill. I would adamantly seek to join with as many people as I could get to sign that bill, to co-sponsor that bill. Our founding fathers would turn over in disgust if they saw what, through FDR and the Supreme Court, has happened to our system of governing right now today. We need an Enumerated Powers Act to get Congress to follow the law, and that's a shame. That is the state that we're in today. We need a law to hold Congress to the law. In 1936, there was a case, Butler case, where the Supreme Court took an arcane fact out of another case and used that to say that we could then just use the first line of the Article 1, Section 8, where the government has the power to tax and spend, and then be able to use it for the general welfare. Well, in the Federalist Papers, James Madison wrote saying that that statement was not separated by any more than a semicolon for the list of enumerated powers that the federal government was to be limited to. And Mr. Madison ardently argued that only the powers delineated in the Constitution were the things that the federal government was allowed to do. And this argument went on for years. And after 1936, in 1942, there was another Supreme Court case, Wickard v. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the second name on that one. But that case, the federal government used the Interstate Commerce Clause. And they use that one all the time now to say that if it affects directly or indirectly interstate commerce, then Congress has the right to legislate based on it. And it's a total misnomer. It's a misuse. It is not legal, and it would not hold up under today's Supreme Court. FDR decided that he was mad because he couldn't get the Supreme Court to let him do what he wanted. He packed the court with liberal judges, and that's why we don't have presidents in for 4 terms anymore.
Thank you for your response. Our next question will come from Jim Robinsky of the Young Republicans. Jim, your question on the candidates.